as I built those processes and I started to hire great people and I started to put better systems in place and I was able to take the pressure off of me and off of my team, I fell in love with running my agency again. So now what I have is options. I have an agency that's worth something. I have a business that I love. I have clients that I help that I love, and I have a team that I love dearly.
Hi, and welcome back to the 91 Day Success Podcast. Last week, we talked with Lyn Askin, and we had such a great time while we were chatting that we decided to turn Lyn's episode into two separate episodes themselves. Here's part two, and make sure you stick around because last week we talked about some great technology and some fun stories. Today, the story gets a lot more serious, but the outcome's amazing. One of the things I know you've done pertaining to that, Lyn, is you've really systematized your business and brought in standards and that. Can you tell us a little bit about what drove you to that objective to systematize things and some of the things you've done along the way that have helped you in that process?
Sure, this is kind of a cool story, and I love telling it. And so, for many years we sort of did just enough, and we sort of struggled, and there were definitely things in my business that only I could do. Um, all of the great business books, the E-Myth Revisited, and all of those things say, uh, if when you work like that, you don't have a business, you have a job. And for
Correct.
many, many, many years, I had a job. In Let me see if I can get the timeline right here. It was October of 2022. I'm sorry, October of 2020. Um, I was I was tired. I was worn out. We were working really hard, a lot of things going on, and I was just getting burned out. Um, and I was asking myself, man, why do I feel this bad? Why am I so out of shape? Why am I so fat? All of these things. And as it turned out, um, I suffered a massive pulmonary embolism. I was
Oh,
sick,
wow.
and uh, so when that happens, that day I had to do probably two of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I had to walk into my son's room and I had to tell him that Dad's in trouble, and I don't know if I'll see you again, and I don't know how this is going to go.
Wow.
That's the second hardest thing I ever had to do. First hardest thing I ever had to do is I had to turn around and walk out of that room.
Mm, I can't imagine.
And so that 30-minute drive to the hospital, which I'm sure my wife was driving, you know, uh, what was beyond reasonable and prudent to get me there quickly, but it felt like forever. And they say your life sort of passes in front of your eyes when you're dying, and that's not exactly what happened to me. All I could think about, Jonathan, was what kind of mess did I just leave my wife and my family?
Mm.
My wife is going to have to go down to my office. She's going to have to lock the door. She's going to have to fire all of our employees. And she's going to have to fire all of our clients because I did not have a business. I had a job. No one could have taken over the mess that I had. So let that sink in for just a minute.
It's so powerful, Lyn. Mm.
So, um, luckily, I'm still here today. I survived. Most people don't. Um, and two out of three people that do die from a massive pulmonary embolism die within the first 2 hours.
Wow.
And somehow I made it. I was given a second chance. And so, obviously, after a little recovery, a little bit of time spent just getting healthy again, to where I could get up and move around, and be able to catch my breath, and lots of medicine to dissolve blood clots. Uh, I I I got on a mission, and my mission was, at first I thought, man, I think I just need to sell this business and spend more time with my family. But I spoke to some friends who are in the business of buying and selling agencies, and it just wasn't enough money. I wasn't in a position that I could get enough that I could actually retire and quit. And so what I asked myself next was, how could I make it worth enough? What would I have to do to push that number up enough where I could actually retire someday? and have a real business that's sellable asset for my family's future. And so I listened to several podcasts, read a lot of books, and the gist of what I needed to do next was I needed to create a business where the CEO wasn't involved in the day to day, because that means the company has good people and it has good processes. And I had to build a company that was profitable. And so I got on a mission to do those things. I started taking myself out of day to day. I hired great people. I got us in, better project management tools. I
Mm-hmm.
invested in ClickUp, invested in training for ClickUp. I invested in an EOS implementer, someone to come in and help us really put the entrepreneurial operating system in place for our agency. Spent a lot of money doing those things, but honestly, I have a business now that's sellable. I have recurring revenue. Um, but as I built those processes and I started to hire great people and I started to put better systems in place and I was able to take the pressure off of me and off of my team, I fell in love with running my agency again. So now what I have is options. I have an agency that's worth something. I have a business that I love. I have clients that I help that I love, and I have a team that I love dearly. And so, going from kind of winging it and flying by the seat of your pants to a very systemized process for client acquisition, for fulfillment, for hiring, for firing, for HR, for accounting, all of those things. I was able to put those in place in my business over the last couple of years.
Now, what an amazing story. And I think, boy, you just really hit home when I hear, wow, what have I left my wife and my son with? And the answer in your mind is a mess. And to see what you've done over the last few years to change that around is truly just amazing. And then to know that out of that, you've decided to so selflessly become a coach and teach others, as you do through Seven Figure Agency, how to do the exact same thing you've done. So personally, I want to thank you because it's made a big difference in my life as well.
Thanks.
What a great story.
Amazing.
Well,
Thank
before we wrap up, one of the things that we call this the 91 Day Success Podcast, and one of the questions that I like to ask everybody along the way is, if you had to start over, and the reason we wanted, by the way, do this is I know a lot of people are looking at the next couple of years and thinking, you know what, economically probably going to get a bit harder. Maybe it's a good time to start a side hustle. Maybe I've lost my job or I'm worried about losing my job and I need to look at starting a business. And I love hearing what seasoned mentors like yourself think about if they had to start over and they had $1,000, which I think most everybody could come up with if they have to. Didn't have to worry about food. They didn't have to worry about lodging. They had a computer. They had a phone. But they had $1,000. What would you do if you had to start over in the first 91 days or 3 months to build a business that was going to be able to have an ongoing revenue stream or earn money ongoing? What would you do in the first 3 months, Lyn, to start that?
This is a fantastic question, and I don't have this fully thought out, but I'll tell you how I'd start.
That'd be great.
I tell anyone who will listen or anyone who asks, "Hey, Lyn, how do I start a business?" Here's what I tell them: find a group of people that you love to work with, figure out what their biggest problem is, and solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the basis and the foundation of everything that I would do if I had to start over. I would find a group of people that I like to work with, whether it's plumbers or dentists or whatever it may be. I would find a group of people that I like to work with, and I would talk to them, and I would figure out what challenges they're facing in their business, and not just little challenges. I want to solve their biggest challenge, because quite frankly, if I can't charge you $2,000 a month to do what I'm going to do for you, I'm not solving a big enough problem. And so then, of course, you'd have to take this concept and this idea and actually do it. And so you may have to do this for free for someone. You may have to prove your concept. It's not always the case, but
Mm-hmm.
certainly you would want to build a case study. And so whatever that would be, for me, it would. I don't know what it would be, honestly.
Sure.
I would learn. I think the problem that a lot of people and a lot of businesses or the mistake that they make is they create something and then they try to find a place to shove it, right? They
Absolutely.
build this thing and they're like, oh, now I got to go find people to buy this thing that I created, and
Yes. Yes.
I've got to convince people that they need it. And I, I want to figure out where people's pain is, because I want to put a big giant band-aid right on it. I want to figure out what challenges you're facing, and a lot of great has come out of that in the last couple of years. A great example of this is Jody Underhill. You know, in the trades, it is very difficult. It has been very difficult in the last couple of years to find employees, and so
Sure.
I worked with a pool company. We got them 18 pool jobs in the first month we started with them, 18
Wow.
swimming pools, and then they fired us. They were booked up for like 3 years, and they didn't
Wow.
need our marketing services anymore. They needed employees, and they needed team, and they needed growth. They couldn't handle the business, and I think people are finding that across the board in lawn care and in all these other industries. I think when you talk to those sort of owners, one of the biggest challenges they faced was team or
Yeah.
hiring or, you know, that sort of recruiting. And so, you know, great example, Jody, he built a recruiting agency around that pain,
Yeah.
and it's done
Absolutely.
really, really well. And so I don't know what I would be delivering exactly, but I would talk to the people that I liked, and I would talk to the people that I had access to, or I would talk to, you know, friends or neighbors or anybody that needed help in their business. And I would figure out what that pain is. And if I could solve that pain for them, it's very likely applicable across their entire industry. And so,
Uh,
uh, you know, and then you just offer a very valuable solution. Alex Hermosi has got a great book called $100 Million Offers, and
Fantastic.
basically it's an amazing book. And if you go on their website, acquisition.com, he'll walk you through the entire process. But one of the things that I love that he says is to build an offer so great that they'd be dumb to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can create a really valuable offer. Then you need to establish a sales and marketing plan to be able to acquire new customers. Um, Obviously that hopefully comes with, you know, a case study where, you know, you've done this for other people. And then you just continually refine and scale your product and your offer and just keep getting better and better and better. So, and then of course you got to work yourself out of the day to day.
Great advice, and it reminds me of just another well, very similar advice. Again, find a group you like. Find somebody with a problem that's got a few dollars that's willing to pay to fix that, and find a problem big enough, as you stated, that they're willing to pay good money to fix it. Because when that's the case, the value you bring is so significant, and you can scale that because now you're the expert at solving that problem for that industry, and you know, people will start coming to you saying, hey, I know you're the guy, Lyn, that solves this problem in my industry, and I want to pay you to do that for me. Great advice.
I had a customer once, and I think you made a great point there. You know, again, the value has to be so large. I had a client came to me one time, and really nice lady, and she had a great idea. You know, a lot of us have flip flops laying in the bottom of our closet, and there's really a difficult way to store them. She built this really cool flip flop holder, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And she wanted me to help her sell them. But the retail price on the flip flop holder was $6.50.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
I'm like, man, do you know how many of these I have to help you sell to be able to even afford my monthly fee? It was too many. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't put me or her in that position and to turn her down. Um,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I,
No,
the,
and again, a great product, but just not one that was going to be capable of generating the revenue in all likelihood. You know, short of a Shark Tank feature, you're just not going to be able to generate enough revenue with that product. As opposed to, you know, let's look at your garage door industry, where I don't know the exact amount, but you know, the average new garage door, I'm guessing, is somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. And there's a lot of labor involved in putting that together, and labor is higher profit. They don't need to have 27 leads every day in order to be really to have you be valuable to them. You know, a handful of those leads that turn into jobs pays for months of your service.
Yeah, that's true in a lot of industries, whether it's garage doors or cosmetics, or the things that you're looking for recession-proof businesses too.
Yeah.
We obviously we're going into year 47 of COVID, and what feels like.
Yes.
And some businesses got hit really hard, even ones that you weren't sure about. On March 1st in 2020, I lost 40 clients.
Wow.
32 nail salons, 4 veterinarians, and 4 dentists all shut down on March 1st. That's
Mm.
a huge chunk of recurring revenue that we took a giant hit. And the week before that, I had told my team, okay, look, this COVID thing's here, won't be forever. Give us a couple months. We're going to fight through this. But I want to promise you guys, none of you will lose your jobs. None of you will get your hours cut. We're going to get through this thing together.
Ouch.
And then a couple of days later, we lose 40 clients. And Jonathan, I kept my promise. We fought, we borrowed, we put money on credit cards. We did everything we had to do to survive. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of.
As you should be. As you should be. Well, Lyn, I just want to again thank you for your time, you sharing the stories. You shared just some amazing stories today. Um, One last question. We're going to put links out to your business, to garage marketers and all that. But if somebody is watching this, we mainly have business people that watch this. They're in the garage door business and they want to find out how you can help them grow their businesses, the problems that you can solve. What's the best thing for them to do to reach out to you, Lyn?
Go to garagemarketers.com, hit the schedule strategy session button on the top right, and book a call with me. We can talk through, your challenges, and we'll see if we're a good fit for you.
Well, and let me tell you, I've known Lyn, as I mentioned, for a little over a year now. Lyn is the real deal. If you're in that industry and you're looking for help, don't hesitate to reach out to Lyn. He'll give you the straight scoop, whether he can or can't help you out. So, Lyn, again, thank you so much for your time today. It's been very appreciated, and I'm just so thankful that we've had the opportunity to get to know each other, and really looking forward. Are you going to be down in Miami in March?
Absolutely.
Good. Well, I will, if not before, I will definitely see you in about 5 weeks then down in Miami.
Yeah, very good. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again, and thank you for this. This was a lot of fun, and I love having these sort of conversations. So, thank you.
Well, thank you as well. All right. Make it a great day. And everybody reach out to Lyn. Have a great one, everyone.